up, you guys? Marty Schwartz here from GuitarJams.com. Hope you guys are doing great out there. It's good to see you again. I'm going to break down a little soloing concept lesson. I did this a couple weeks ago, and it was a real popular video, so I'm going to try and fill in some more gaps for you guys. Also, you can check out my website where I have a bunch of lesson programs that are not on YouTube. I've got a link for it down there below this box. Appreciate that so much, I really do. But I'm going to give you this free lesson right now. Zoom in, and let's break it down. Here we go. Okay, so first let's look at the chords. You know, we got this classic D chord, then basically what we'd call a C, and then a G. And so a lot of times you'd see a guitar player see that D chord as the first chord and then want to go into their D minor pentatonic scale, which is logical. Now, you could hear that, and you know, it's a rock approach. But I think what I'm hearing a little more is the G approach, and like a G major pentatonic kind of vibe with a little bit of that G blues. And here's why we can do it that way. Now, if you do it that D approach that I showed you there, it's not going to be totally wrong, and the D and G have some overlapping notes as well. So, you know, you could try that, but here's the G major thing. And here's why I think it works nicely. If you just took the blues in the key of G, and I had a G chord, you know, and then you got what's called the 4 chord, which would be C. And then the 1 chord, right? And then you got that 4 chord. Then you got the 1 chord. Then you've got the 5 chord, which is a D, to the 4 chord, which is C, then the 1 chord. So that is the turnaround in the key of G, and you'd play G over that. So now watch when I play the Sweet Home Alabama chords. That's one of the rhythm guitars. So in a lot of ways, it's like a 5-4-1 in the key of G. So it could be one of those examples where the first chord of the song is not the key. And so if I have this loop here of it, nice and quiet, you know, here's a G note. Okay, now the G major pentatonic is the same thing as the E minor pentatonic. So check out the G major pentatonic right there. So if you, for instance, one of the opening licks of the solo is right in this spot, and it's doing this kind of thing, which is right from the G major pentatonic scale, and it's the open D string hammered onto the 2nd fret, and then the open G string. And that's a great country-ish kind of lick. And any variations you can come up with on the fly. Thus the word improvising, right? So that same spot's right here too. if you covered the 3rd fret of the B in the high E and then hammered on to the 5th of the B and then hit that 3rd fret high E there. Okay, and then you've got the scale too. Now, what I'm hearing is it's toeing the line, which we love in the blues, of that major minor. So G major mostly, which is that country sound, with a little bit of the G minor pentatonic or that G darker blues sound in there. And one of the great ways you can do that in this spot is still think of it like that G major pentatonic. But then you can swap out the 2nd fret on the G string. People like when I do that. Middle finger right there. You can change it for the 3rd fret on that G string. And then the rest is that G major. You can switch back to the major note. Well, you know, and then you've also always got that minor pentatonic or blues scale. It's not doing that straight scale a lot, but it does work over it as well. You know, it's, yeah, that's better. You know, just a little bit of that blues, maybe. Now, another beautiful thing about the G major pentatonic, like I said, it's the same thing as the E minor pentatonic. So if you knew the E minor pen up and down the whole neck, you would actually also know all the positions of the G major pentatonic up and down the whole neck. But here's a great spot, the root, 5th fret on the D string right there. And you have this great little box below it, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7. Slide up to 9, 7, 9, middle finger on the 8, which is the root, the G note for us right now. And what we love about that spot is we can put our index finger there instead, and now we have this great bend on the 10th fret of the B string. You can bend it a whole step. You can bend it a whole step and a half step, called a minor third. You can do them in order. And it releases to the root right there, which we love. On the high E, we can do all kinds of stuff too, but I really love that same box right here, which would be 8, 10 on the high E, and then roll over to the B. And then you'd have the 9 and the 7 on the G. And when you're doing that classic B bend right there, you can hold the bend and hit the other notes from the 8 and 10 on the high E. And then we love our home row, as my friend Bob Ryan would refer to it as. The classic pentatonic shape that kind of everybody learns first, but flipped into the major pentatonic. So it's, like I said, it's the exact same thing as the E minor pentatonic. The thing that makes it different is we're playing it with the G note of that position as the root instead of the E. So when I play through that same scale, if I start on the G note of it and then go up and down the scale, the thing that makes that the E minor pentatonic is we play it over some kind of E, the E blues, and the E is the root. As opposed to really cool when I first kind of started to figure that out. But so you'd have all those same extensions. So one other thing besides using that stuff, you know, the classic pentatonic, would be like more of the chordal approach, which this is going on also in the rhythm of the song. But every major chord you have, so we have D, C, and we have G. So this is a cool approach to throw into the solo as well. D, C, and G. You know, D, C, G, or all those are kind of the same thing. For the D, you've got this vibe. A classic sixths kind of move, which would have the 11 on the G and then the 10 on the high E. You know, it comes right from that chord. And then, however you want to finger it, you could do middle finger, ring finger, or index across the whole thing. You're just picking the G and the high E, so you've got... Then you'd got the 12 on the G and high E. And then you'd have the 14, same thing. But you can add the one, a passing tone in between them. Or... Okay, so that'd be for D. For C, it's just a whole step lower. And then for the G, of course, right there. Same thing, though. So that is the fourth of the G, third of the high E. So in my little loop there, which it's not in there, is every once in a while it does a G, F, D, and that is like, that's the spot. You know, it doesn't do it every time, right? Right? Then this here. Right? So that G, E, F is always going to be really great for the G minor pentatonic right there if you want. That's that spot where, you know, so you got, and then, all right, thanks for watching. Hopefully it helped. That's my goal. Also, for more lessons and stuff like that, you can go to guitarjams.com and the link right down there below this box. Thanks again for all the support. I really, really appreciate it. And hopefully, you know, we'll see you in another video coming up. Take care.